everybody. Give it a few minutes. Let's get everybody in. Get their brews, warm or cold, whatever your favorite is. I have High Country Huckleberry today. Good morning. Hope you guys are ready for tea time with Lady M. All right. Good morning. I am Lady M. I am Roberta. I am our Maleficent. Good morning, Jamie. Whatever you are comfortable with, this is tea time with Lady M. And we are going to be going through doing our morning grounding, getting that up and going. So that way we can start our day. We will be talking about manifesting today. And we'll be doing it a little bit different today. So let's get going for the day. So we are going to start off. Again, I do not own the rights to this music. I just find meditation music that I find entrancing for the day. Something that is upbeat. Today, it's about Black Jaguar. My Yakira wants to come out and I am feeling great. So I am going to stand up for my morning grounding this morning. I like to move my body, do what is comfortable for you. Make sure that you are moving, doing what you are doing to get that feeling of grounding. If it's a visual of you visioning that tree, do it. This is about getting ourselves going for the day, feeling that energy. So what I like to do, besides focusing on my breath, is I feel the beats of the music. What wants me to move? What part of my body? My arms. Feeling that energy. I want you to take a deep breath in. And slowly exhale. Release all of that negative energy. All the stuff that you don't want, don't need. Again, keep focusing on your breath. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. You should feel your tummy and your chest cavity rise. As you inhale and as you exhale, it should be maybe you want to take to the sky today. Use your arms and soar. Maybe you are plants. So you take your roots and dive even deeper. Maybe the ocean or the river. The ground, feel the motion of the water. Again, pulling that energy that you don't need. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Strong legs, ground yourself. Maybe your arms are starting to tingle. Take that energy that you feel in your arms and start pushing it through your body. So that way your whole body is getting the grounding. Forget those legs. If you're sitting, you can move your legs, swirl them around however you feel. This is just bringing that energy up. Take those roots and dive deep to the core. Going. Deep breathing. Deep breath in.
I can see, I saw what you did. You did what you did.
Now that you're grounded, I do find meditation music that you like, you can stick to it. You can bounce around depending what the day is calling. Yeah, that is grounding. So we are grounded, we feel the energy. We're going to do this real quick and we're going to say, I am grounded. Repeat after me. It's just a quick, it goes through the chakras. So that way we can start it off positively. You're going to start with, I am grounded. I feel the energy because we just move the energy through our bodies. I do take charge. My actions are my actions, so I do take charge. That's coming from your solar plexus. I love myself. It takes a lot of hard work, but I love myself. I speak from my soul. That's where my truths come. I speak from my soul. I see the magic. And I see the magic that happens every day, the good and the bad. I understand I am only me and no one else. So I am only me and no one else. All right. Good morning. Again, I am Lady M, Roberta, or Maleficent, whatever you would like to call me. For those that are already in, welcome. If you're joining now or at a later time to catch up on watching, welcome and hope you enjoy. So, my tea today again is from Lake Missoula Tea Company, and this time I'm doing my other favorite, which is High Country Huckleberry. With High Country Huckleberry, this one is a caffeinated tea, and it's absolutely lovely. It's not overpowering or anything. It is black tea, black currant, blackberry leaf, and this one is made in the great state of Montana, because if you know anything about this northern region, we are huckleberry heaven, and huckleberries are delightful. They are amazing. So I have the High Country Huckleberry tea today. And I usually drink 2 or 3 cups of tea a day because I don't drink coffee. So cheers to you and whatever you guys are drinking. How are we on this fine Tuesday? How is our day? Or week? Jamie, how have you been? So today, you kind of seen this, I pushed it away. I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently. I'm going to be reading a couple pages from a story that, even though the title isn't about manifestation, the story itself is. So when I dive into it, I am going to read it, and then I'm going to go, we can go into relate how personal stories. And then I'm going to give you, there is another little thing that I was guided to. And I was guided to this over the weekend. I sat on it because I really didn't know where I was going to go, because manifestation can go deep. It can go wrong. It can go sideways. It can go not in your favor. And I've experienced all of those things, or at least a majority of them. So over the weekend, I was drawn to this story first, and I love this book. It's called The Magical Almanac. So it's like a farmer's almanac. Oh, we got a hard word today. That word. So I get these yearly. I've gotten 2023. I've gotten 2024. The 2023 one was quite hilarious because it has a sea turtle on the front, and these have like short stories, different tips, things. Love these books. Anyways, so I was drawn to this book and to read. I haven't read this one yet. This year I received it back, I think July last year, but I hadn't finished 2023. Other books came up. So it's just been kind of sitting for a little bit, and yep, this weekend I opened it up. So, which is perfect for the manifestation. So real quick, I will read this, and then go into like questions and personal journey. I'm not going to read all of it, because at the very end, she goes into somatic exercises that are yoga, to help you release things that she did. So this is in the writer's story, so I'm not reading all of it, but I will read a majority of it. The Magic of Somatics, Turning Small Movements into Big Change by Melissa Tipton. Gym class, middle school. Everyone's lined up in scratchy polyester shorts, flattering on exactly no one, waiting to reach the head of this slowly shuffling line where in front of the entire class, we have to do a forward bend. Arms hanging limply like a rag doll, the point to determine whether or not we have scoliosis. I remember those days, so not pleasant. I looked up this forward bend test to see if it's still a thing, and seeing pictures of hunched over examinees with arms dangling, waiting to be diagnosed brought back long forgotten childhood memories. What I recall most of all is how final my scoliosis diagnosis felt. I definitely had it. It wasn't going away, and it would only get worse, like bringing with it pain and mobility issues. There apparently nothing I could do besides surgery. It was only many years later that I saw a direct link between those early associations of physicality and finality with what was to become my unbalanced approach to magic. I'll explain more on that one. So, what an unbalanced approach is. Fast forward to my 30s. I am incredibly disconnected from my body, treating it like a machine to ferry my head around, which is the body part where I spend the majority of my time. I love analyzing things and over-analyzing things. And I am drawn to magic because it feels like a way to make things happen without actually doing them. Oh, how wrong I was. It was also a time when my back begins to speak to me in the form of burning achiness and occasionally seizing up at the worst possible moments. I've resigned myself to the fact that my back will continue to get worse, and at best, maybe I can delay its inevitable decline. Interestingly, the more stubborn and defeatist my approach to the physical became, the more fantastical and ungrounded my magical outlook grew. On one hand, I was convinced that nothing I did, practically speaking, could change my back, while on the other hand, I believed magic would somehow deliver me from all my problems. If only I could find the right spell or teacher. When I finally made a connection between the extremely split viewpoint and a long-standing family pattern, things began to click. I realized that when life didn't go as planned, I'd never been taught how to deal with this frustration. The adults around me who were equally ill-equipped to handle frustration, theirs and mine, would hurriedly do something to make it go away, give me money, start yelling, so we'd have a new problem to focus on instead, plop me down in front of a bowl of ice cream, and so on. And I'm sure with that little statement, many of us can relate, especially with us that grew up through the 80s, the 90s, or older. We had a lot on our plates. I viewed magic through this very same lens. It became just another tool in the make it go away box. But what happens when you're dealing with something like your own body you can't get away from? I was back to the push-pull of the hard stubbornness of physical existence and the ever-changing, anything is possible, realm of the mind. But when I couldn't see was that magic relies on both. It represents expansive possibilities, yes, but it also works through and on the concrete isness of material reality. And scoliosis, as it turns out, would become my greatest teacher in learning how to weave the material and magical together. My chronically cranky back inspired me first to become a massage therapist, then a personal trainer, And finally, a structural integrator. Good morning, Annie Paula. Welcome. Throughout this journey, I slowly began to descend from the comforts of my cranium to inhabit the rest of my body too. And what I learned is that, wow, there's nothing static and unchanging about physical reality. Once I was paying attention, the constant fluctuations and transformations of matter were everywhere I looked, and this began to radically influence my my magical practice. A little bit of magic. Your body is a record of your experiences, but what has been learned can be unlearned, and the solidity of matter is much more malleable than it appears. I will bring them on camera. Let me finish this up, and then I will bring the animals on. So, Annie Paula, you're just joining. We're talking about manifestation and how the story relates, even though it's not in the title. And it goes both ways. I will bring those puppies on. Okay, one of the most important tools I picked up along the way is a form of somatics developed by Thomas Hanna, known by Hanna Somatics. Again, I'm not going to read the last part about somatics, just because it's not pertaining to manifestation. We're going to stick to the broad strokes because I want to focus on connecting the dots between the physical practice and increasing your magical power and efficacy. I'm going to have trouble speaking today. That's okay. What is Hanna Somatics? In a nutshell, it's a movement practice that uses slow and intentional movements to repattern how the nervous system relates to the body, with the goal of improving mobility, reducing pain, and releasing chronic tension. Throughout life, our nervous system is learning how to direct our body so we can stand, walk, sit still, and do all the other dynamic, stationary things we do in a given day. It has to learn which muscles to contract or release, how much, and for how long. Depending on how we use our bodies, which is hugely influenced by watching other people. In my family, we share a particular way of cocking one hip to the side when we're tired of standing. Our nervous system learns certain patterns. This is our muscle memory. These patterns might help us get the job done, but some do so at the expense of, say, the health of our spine or the integrity of our knee joints. Somatics is a tool for retraining the nervous system towards more efficient functional patterns that don't lead to pain and damage. Remember, she has scoliosis. There are numerous ways this relates to magical practice, but here are two biggies. The first is the link between how much energy those unconscious patterns gobble up and how much energy we have left over for magical purposes. Keep that in mind. Keep that little quote in mind, because it makes a difference. It really does. To illustrate this, I'll borrow a term from Moshe Fielding-Nicross. I tried. That one I tried. Who heavily influenced Hanna's development of somatics. Fielding-Nicross called the
Maybe you should go outside and go potty.
Tensing of muscles that don't need to be engaged for the task at hand, parasitic tension. This is a useful term because it captures
But I guarantee you want to go outside because there's a puppy outside, so...
unconscious chronic tension can be.
So you can wait.
So, anyways, magic requires energy. I had to skip because some filler. Magic requires energy, and while we can outsource at least part of these requirements by drawing on, for instance, elemental or earth and sky energies, our magic is more effective when we're energetically contributing. Why? Well, one of the primary ways magic helps us get what we want is by changing us from the inside out, and if we're not weaving our own energy into the process, that's a bit like preparing for a marathon. by asking someone else to go on practice runs for us, not to mention if our baseline energy requirements are high because a steady stream of is being gobbled up by that parasitic tension. So it's a lot of external energy that you do, it's internal energy. And what she's getting at is she's going through is she had the will, the determination. She's had, okay, I've done massage therapy, I've done this, I've done that, and she's realized more about her body to be able to help release those things. But on top of that,
I don't know, I didn't look.
she had to put in the effort
I said, I don't know, I didn't look. I
to
don't
get
see
to
it.
where she is, to get to where she needed to be to heal. That's part of manifestation. So, you know, when I bought my house,
No, the dog is
did I sit on my ass and just say, hey, that's the house I want? No, I had to work my ass off to get my house. I had
You're
to
right, my love.
make sure my credit score
Love
was
you.
good. I had to, you know, and I did a lot of things to get my credit score up so that way I could qualify for a VA home loan. Because I am a veteran. And many other things. I worked. I sacrificed a lot of things to manifest this reality and this. And guess what? We manifested it. We made it come true. And now we're living in a home with happiness. Have we had our ups and downs? Absolutely. And that's where manifesting comes in. She talks about like her scoliosis journey and how she got with somatics and found what was right for her. You have to find what's right for you. So let's talk abundance or wealth. Manifesting those kinds, because I have tried it in the past and it massively backfired. And it scared me. It really scared me. So I started this journey and everybody's like, oh, do the cinnamon trick. You know, you get abundance, you'll get wealth. And I was like, okay. But I was a very confused person, I guess you could say. I wasn't in a good mental state. Did it and it backfired. I was like, that's not what I want to manifest. That is absolutely not what I want to manifest. I'm not trying to be greedy. So I had to work on those things. I had to work on bringing, I had to work hard on myself, those shadow parts, to be able to work through those journeys, to be able to start to manifest the wealth and be able to gain the abundance. But I also had to look at it in a different perspective. What is my abundance? Okay, my abundance is not the money that's in my pocket. That's not what matters to me. My wealth, same thing. I could be rich and still love living where I live. I could be in the middle of nowhere and be rich and be completely, absolutely okay with that. I had to put in that work to get my manifestations to come. I'm working on some big things. In order to get to those big things, I had to put in the work. Last year, here's another failure for you. Last year, I started working on a journal that was supposed to be, so you can write in it, do your daily polls, do whatnot. But it got overwhelming very quickly because I was not in the right headspace. And two, I hadn't learned what I needed to learn and able to move forward. What I didn't know is that all this schoolwork that I'm doing for graphic design would eventually pay off to now where I'm at the point where I can do my school and I can do this journal that I'm producing. I have set my goals. I've started manifesting it. I've put it on paper. I've written, you want to see, you know, I have pages upon pages of words to work your shadow, work your light, because it's not just about your shadow. You have to be able to see the light in those things too. And I have been able to get a month done. Now I just need to put all these other words into the rest of the months and get it out and get it laid out the way I want. I can do all the finesse and the reevaluation when I get all the way through it, So that way, if I need to make some changes, I can make it then. Right now, I'm in the get it done phase. Like, get it out there. This is what you need to be. And guess what? The universe has been giving me those signs and showing up saying, hey, you are on the right track. You've been doing everything that you said you were going to do. Now it's our time, and we're going to meet you. And we're going to help you manifest this shadow journal that you intended to last year. But you weren't in the right headspace. You didn't learn enough. I had to learn that lesson. Now I can manifest it. Am I making money off of it? Absolutely not right now. But do I plan on it? Yes. That is the intentions. I want others to be able to work their shadows if they're not in a safe environment like this. If they're not in a group that can, ask questions and not feel belittled, where they can personally do it. Because as most of you know, that journey feels lonely, even though we're not alone. So that's where I'm manifesting. On another note, we're manifesting my husband's board game that he created he wrote the cards out on paper. We only had just a small stack of them. He drew his game board out on a big piece of clear plastic that he's been hanging around. No real game pieces to it, no nothing. Guess what? Yesterday, we got our first round of playing cards, and I kind of spelled assassin wrong. But that's the point of us getting into it. We're getting the trial run. We're doing the trial run and getting it done. So those are the things that we are manifesting. But when we are manifesting abundance and wealth, look at it not in a greedy sense. Not look at it in the 7 deadly sins is the best thing that comes up to me. If it's in a 7 deadly sins aspect, maybe your abundance and wealth isn't where it should be. My abundance comes from my family. My abundance comes from the love that I have for them and the love that they have for me. My friends, my soul family. That's where my abundance is. I learn and grow on a daily basis from you guys, from myself, from the people I surround myself. And I've learned to take that negativity out. And once I started taking the negativity out, I've made room for the positive, which has helped my manifestation go. Because, hey, you can manifest wealth and do all these little spells, do what you need to bring money in, but what are you doing to put it back out there to match that energy? Because you could get money coming in, could last a month, could last 2 months, and then guess what? You're right back in that same cycle. It's about breaking those cycles. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. Break those cycles. So when you break those cycles and you heal, you start working those lights and those shadows, and you get to a point where you're like, I am confident, I can do this. Things start happening. Like, give me 1 second.
Okay, you ain't all of you to stop this bullshit. Trying to eat it by sitting in my fucking seat.
I'm gonna show you this because this is a manifestation. This is real. This is all of our
Come on,
playing
both of you need to stop.
for the game. And I'm excited. So we have our player cards, which has 30 different player cards right now. And we're eventually going to expand. That is the plan. But we got to get the initial game. Don't make fun of me. I can't spell assassin apparently. And that's almost 50 of them. So we have 50. It's assassin. Assassin. It's fucking stupid. There's two double S's. Excuse the language. We have our loot cards, which are our good cards. That's, you get free stuff like life tokens, weapons, boats. And this is a fun game, so I'm really excited. We've got the situation cards and that. So that's about manifesting. We took something he wrote on a piece of paper. I ended up typing them all up, reading a bunch more, so that we could keep playing and keep working out the kinks. Yep. Let's not move our hands with a handful of cards. That's how manifestation works. You have to put in the work. Otherwise, it will go right back down and come back. There's good manifestations, there's bad manifestations. You can wish manifestation on ill will on others. Just remember, whatever you do onto others, it will come back onto you. It could be manifestation for others, but then just remember, you're putting your energy into their manifestations. Why aren't they putting their energy into their own manifestations? They should believe in themselves. We get that you believe in them, but they should be believing themselves. That's what manifestation is. Believing in yourself that you can do the impossible. Just like Alice said, right? You can do, I have to look up 13 impossible things, I think is what it is. But that's manifestation. So, which brought me to the second part of my book of how you can start doing things and incorporate manifestation into your daily practice and make it a habit with the elements. This was another one that I didn't quite dive into the book fully. I just read the story of how the lady had scoliosis. And so what I did is yesterday I was told to go to the air, spread my wings. I was to take air and do this. Well, this book is broken up by the elements. So I decided to open this book after I reread it, and I was like, you're right. I can go to the air element. And I started reading, and this is what came up. It's the 5 elements in the creative process. It's helping you move forward and get yourself out of like an unstuck block so you can finish a project, be proud of yourself, and then keep moving forward. Because when you start finishing those projects and you start accomplishing those things and you're proud of yourself, guess what? That's where the true manifestation starts. That's where the true the magic happens. Not one little thing. The magic is underlying, and along with the physical, they go hand in hand. And you have to open yourself to see the perspective of the magic and being able to alchemize that into the good. So, with the creative, this story is not by the same writer. It is by Tisha Morris. This is Alchemize Thoughts into Things using the 5 elements. So, it is, the 5 elements are what work together to create a dynamic energy that is a creative process. To understand the process better, it's important to understand the role of each element individually. So the first one we have is water. The water element is the philosopher. They are quiet and typically introverted, and yet so assuming. The wood element is the pioneer. They are the leaders, inventors, seekers, and visionaries. Fire element is the manifester. They are high energy and generally extroverted. Earth element is the stabilizer. They are grounding force that keeps status quo maintained so that change doesn't happen too quickly. Then you have the metal element. The metal element is the organizer. They are natural organizers and keep things in check and on schedule. Well, how can I use this for my daily projects and getting this done? Okay, give me 1 second. This is what's going to help with your creative process. Open that creative mind so you can start manifesting what you need to. Okay, so the 5 elements and the creative process. So step 1, and I will take a picture of this. This is what it looks like. This is just a little cheat sheet that you have. Good morning to who? just hopped on, we are talking about manifestation. Oh, Tony, good morning. So how you can use the 5 elements to complete projects. What you need to do, set yourself down, write it down, because if you write it down, you're gonna get it done. Even if goals change, the plan changes, whatever, things can change. Learn to adapt. Okay, so the first one, you're gonna write down your project title. And you're going to, what you're going to do is the first step is you're going to title the project. What are you working on? Step 1, water. The idea, okay? What's your idea? Why? What's your internal motivation behind what you want to do? I want to create. Write down what you want to create because I feel passionate about. Okay, what's this project that you feel passionate about? Could it be your drawings? Could it be writing? Could it be a book you're creating? A song, whatever it may be. Crocheting, it's all out there. Creative, it's there. Because my personal experience with blank. So whatever you're wanting to, so for example, I will use project title, Shadow Journal 2025. Step 1, water, the idea. What's your why? Okay, I want to create a shadow journal for 2025 and try to keep it going through the years. Because I feel passionate about helping people heal their shadows along with their light so that they can maintain a balance and get unstuck from the ruts. Because I may not be able to help everybody physically, but with the shadow journal, I can. Because of my personal experience with my own shadow journey. It's very lonely. There's not a lot to guide you on. You think you get a journal, but it's not the right fit of what you're looking for, and there's just not a lot on shadow journals. Additional notes for the water phase, gathering words. I need to have duality for this. So now it takes me into step 2. Step 2, what's your plan? It goes with wood, the plan. What's your plan? Business plan, book outline, blueprint, prototype. I will create a plan that includes, I started with, for example, I got a couple different outlines of journals to see what I liked, played with them, moved stuff around, deleted stuff, so that I could look at the different ideas. Creating, a board, an inspiration board, so you can look at the different ideas and scroll through formats. Followed by seeing if there's any templates available. I use Adobe, so I've thumbed through and looked through Adobe templates. So, and then with this, you have a completion goal of what is your completion goal. So the plan is, for me, I am trying to get this shadow journal out by July, the latest. That way people can start getting it, preparing it for 2025, because, it will go pretty fast. The rest of the year will go pretty fast because we get into the holidays and everything. So I want to prepare so that it will be available when people do start preparing and looking. Step 3, fire, the execution. How much time and energy are you willing to put into it? I commit to working on my shadow journal at least an hour to 2 hours a day for the next 6 months. Well, 5 months. In order to finish. Next year, it'll be pretty easy. The template will already be laying out with just probably minor changes and changing of the words. And you repeat that for each phase you repeat this fire phase for each phase of your project. So my overall in phase is I have till July to get this done. I have my time I work on it during the day, and go from there. Finally, the step 4, Earth, the market. Whose problem am I solving, and how will I let them know I have a solution? My target audience or customer is anybody who is working on their shadow self. anybody who wants to work on healing and wants to be consistent with themselves, because shadow work is not an easy journey. Because of their need, let's see, my target audience, because it meets their need of it working on themselves, being consistent. I will reach them through the marketing channels of their, probably TikTok. I will probably use Facebook. I will use Amazon. I have several avenues that I'm looking at. So, yeah. And then this will help by sharing my personal story of my own healing journey. Without being able to share my own healing journey, I won't be able to relate to others. Others won't be able to relate to me. So that's why I am doing the shadow journal. And then finally, I didn't see step 5, but finally step 5, the metal, the adjustments. What changes do I need to make from my original idea, if any? Do I need to eliminate any changes? Can I improve upon? There's always things upon approval. Again, I could change the entire design for next year. It all depends. What can I take out? What can I add? Getting feedback from the customers who use it over the year.
Excuse me?
That will help as well. So that way I can start gaining information so I can add it to my next book. And then what phase do I need to go back to and sit back and think if it doesn't work out the way I need to? That is how you can manifest. Things you can do to manifest. It's not easy. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes hard work, and the energy that you put in will be matched by the energy of the universe. So if you're half-assing it, guess what? The energy the universe is going to give you is going to be a half-ass, if not even more harsh back at you. Why should they give you that energy? Why should they match that energy? If you're vibrating low, they're going to vibrate low with you. And they're going to try to give you reality checks to try to get you out of that. So start manifesting. Start getting those plans together. Does anybody have any questions before we hop off today? Pick up cards. All right, before we hop off, I am going to give today's oracle reading. It is coming from my water temple today. She didn't seem right last week, even though it was in bulk, and this deck does happen to revolve around Bridget, at least for myself. She does have other gods and goddesses in here, but this is how I found out who I was being called to was this deck. So, good morning, Water Temple. What guidance do you have for people this week? What people messages do you need to hear? More shuffles. Two more shuffles. Alright, so we'll just pull off the top then. Okay, so what she is telling us, Venarsi, endings. I embrace the infinite flow of life. So there are some things coming to an end. And this is where you're going to start putting in your own magic, your own thing. It goes right back to what we just talked about, manifestation. Bring those things to an end so you can start manifesting those things that you need in your life. Bring the infinite flow of life. Bring in the light. It's there. Release the old. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me for Tea Time with Lady M.